Hello dudes, it's Mailloux10 here, back with another Wynncraft guide. Today we're taking a look at my 1 to 106 leveling guide. Now, this guide will focus on mob spots. You can of course use quests, dungeons, and corrupted dungeons to level up, but this guide will focus on grind spots. These spots you can use fully to level up or use them in between quests and dungeons. There will be one spot every 5 levels, but some of these spots can of course be used for longer as well. If a spot is too difficult, you can always go back to a previous one until you feel strong enough to take on the next one. Now, there will be timestamps to every spot down below, and you will be able to see the name and level range for each spot in the corner that's being marked on the screen. And in the other corner, you're going to be able to see the coordinates for each spot. Now, that's all for now. Let's go. For level 1 to 5, we're starting outside of the Decrepit Sewers dungeon. It's directly north from Ragany, and here the spawn rates are pretty good, and it will get you to level 5 in no time. Once you've reached level 5, we're moving on towards the Needlr forest, where at the border of it we can find this grind spot underneath this webbed tree. Now the spawn rates here are really good, and they give quite a lot of XP, so you'll be level 10 rather quickly. Moving on to level 10 to 15, we're going to head over to Deathless, where to the east of it, right outside the city, you can find this grind spot with all these slime mobs. Now, some of them are ranged mobs, so they can be a bit tricky sometimes, so you can always return to the previous spot until you feel a bit stronger, or upgrade your armor in Deathless. Anyways, on to the next spot. Once you've reached level 15, we're going to head over to the north of Deathless towards the road to Nemract. Now, on the road to Nemract, you can find this open sort of circle-ish area where you can find a lot of these undead mobs spawning. You can also continue along the road as well to get some level 20 skeletons along the way. But this spot is good enough to reach level 20 for the next spot. For level 20 to 25, we're going to move over to Saints Row Graveyard right outside the Nemract church. And for this spot, you have to have completed the level 20 Gravedigger quest. It's worth it to do the quest. You get XP from the quest, but the grind spot is really effective. It's gonna help you level up in no time. Anyways, on to the next spot. For level 25 to 30, alternatively 25 up to level 40, we're gonna move over to the Mount Wind Spiders. Now this is a grind spot that's to the west of Nemract, or sort of southwest of Nemract. The spiders, they spawn once they're killed, these mini mobs here, as you can see. Using a totem can be effective, but they can also easily overwhelm you, so if you're in a party, I think a totem would be useful, but if you're soloing, it's might as well do it without one. But yeah, it's an effective spot, but the mobs can be quite strong, and you can use it even up to level 40 if you want to. But yeah, on to the next spot. For level 30 up to 35, we're gonna move over to these tribal exiles. They're in the sort of upper north eastern corner of the canyon here. The spawn rates are really good. They give a good amount of XP. Of course, a totem makes it go a little bit faster, but you don't need one to level up for the next spot. But yeah, on to the next one. For level 35 up to level 40, we're gonna head over to the southwestern corner of the Rhymic Canyon, where we can find these prospector caves and this camp outside the caves. Now, there are dead prospectors in the camp and in the beginning of the caves, but you can also continue through the caves to get these falling ores that are level 35. All of the mobs, great spawn rates, they give a good amount of XP, and they're gonna help you level up to level 40 rather quickly, especially with the totem. But as you can see, there are a lot of them, and the caves are pretty big, so you can just run back and forth for the mobs to respawn on their own. But yeah, on to the next spot. For level 40 up to 45, even alternatively 40 up to level 50, you can go to the Levagar spiders. They're just to the west, right outside of Levagar. The spawn rates are good, of course better with the totem, but you can easily get overwhelmed if you're soloing it with a totem at level 40. So you don't need one to level up, but if you're strong enough, you can use a totem and you will level up super fast. But yeah, on to the next spot. For level 45 up to level 50, we're gonna head over to the Lusico area in the Nesak snowy biome here. Right to the left of Lusico, you can find this large cave with all these ice golems. Now they can be a little bit strong, but they give a good amount of XP and the spawn rates are really good. And they're gonna help you level up to level 50 rather quickly. But yeah, it's a good spot, and you can always use the spiders, the previous one, if these are a bit too strong. But yeah, on to the next spot. For level 50 to 55, we're gonna move over to the Great Bridge here. Now, the slimes here are quite good to grind here. The only problem is, of course, the swarm of them on the top. But if you go to the middle of the bridge, press the green button, it opens up in the middle so you can drop down, and here you can grind slimes in a much more, well, controlled manner. No swarms and easier to grind. But of course, if you want more mobs, you can always use a totem or just go up using the teleporters. But yeah, on to the next spot. For level 55 up to 60, and then also 60 up to 65, we are going to the Herb Cave. Now, here are two level ranges, but one spot. It's because the cave has a lower end, where we are now, which works for 55 or even lower as well. You can even be here at 50 sometimes, if you're in a party, up to 60. And then if you go up to the top section of the Herb Cave, there are higher level mobs that you can grind from level 60 up to 65. Of course, you can come here a bit earlier if there's a Herb Cave party. People usually shout about those. Or you can also stay here a bit longer as well. But yeah, 55 to 65 is the level I would recommend this for if you're soloing. But yeah, on to the next spot. For level 65 up to level 70, we're moving over to the Durnal jungle. Now in this cave here, there are a bit stronger mobs on the inside of the cave, and then there are a bit weaker mobs on the outside. So if these mobs are a bit too hard to handle, you can of course go to the outside of the cave to fight the other mobs. You can also head back to the herb cave previously and grind there. But these give a good amount of XP, and once they die, they spawn these like liquid level mobs that give a lot of XP. But yeah, that is all for this spot, and yeah, on to the next one. Now for level 70 up to level 75, we're gonna go over to the Temple of Legends. Now to access this grind spot with these trainers here, you have to complete the Temple of the Legends quest. It's level 68, but once you complete it, you can enter the Temple of Legends and you can use this grind spot. And yeah, its spawn rates are good, the XP is good, not much more to say. But yeah, it ranges between level 70 up to 75. Once you've reached level 75, we can head over to the waterfall spot. It's sort of north east of Aldry and south east of Sinfras. The mobs here are level 80 and 82. That's why 75 to 80 is a good level range if you're soloing. Now, if you are in a party, you can of course come here earlier. The spawn rates are good, the XP is good, and yeah, you don't really need a totem here unless you're in a big party. But yeah, on to the next spot. For level 80 to level 85, we're at the Bandit Hideout. It's in the beginning of the Canyon of the Lost once you take the road from Sinfras. The mobs here are a little bit strong, but they give a good amount of XP and the spawn rates are really good. But of course, if they're a bit too strong here, you can continue further to the east to another part of the sort of same bandit camp where the mobs are a bit weaker but still good spawn rates and good XP. But yeah, that's all for this level range. On to the next spot. For level 85 up to level 80, we're at the border to the Molten Heights where you can find this cave. It's pretty much underneath Eltom. Now the spawn rates in here are really good, but if you don't want to wait for them to respawn, a good trick in this spot is to /class for 5 seconds and then log back in and they will respawn super quickly. The mobs aren't too strong, but you can get swarmed rather quickly. So spam a few spells and you should be good to go. But yeah, on to the next spot. For level 90 to 95, I actually have two different spots. The first spot here is the Molten Knights. They're at the northern edge here of Molten Heights. The spawn rates are really good, and the XP is good as well. The second spot is if you continue to the east along the path here, you get to the Basalt Cave. That used to be the old spot, Ignis Cave, but they've remade it into this basalt one where you find these basalt beasts. They're a bit tankier, a bit stronger than the Molten Knights, but they give a good amount of XP, and that's why I chose these two different spots. If you feel that these basalt beasts are a bit too strong, you can head back to the Molten Knights, and vice versa. If the Molten Knights are a bit too weak for you and you need a better challenge, you can head over to the basalt beasts and try your luck there. But yeah, that's it for this level range. Let's continue. For level 95 up to level 100, we have the Angel Cave. It's really close to Sword. It's just southeast of it here. The spawn rates are pretty good. The mobs can be a bit strong, but they give a good amount of XP. But if they are too strong, you can always head back to the Basalt Cave from the previous level range and continue there until you feel strong enough. I would also, of course, recommend doing quests, but if you only are grinding mobs, then heading back to the Basalt Cave if the angels here are too strong would be a good idea. But yeah, on to the next spot. So for the last level range, level 100 to 106, we have two spots. The first one is the Frozen Fort. It's a spot on the eastern mountain border of the Sky Islands. The mobs are pretty strong here, but they give a good amount of XP, and the respawn rates are pretty good as well. The second spot here is the church spot. It's in the beginning of the Eye Forest sort of deal before you arrive to Lutho. Here as well, strong mobs, but what can we expect from the last level range? Spawn rates are really good, and of course improved with a totem, but both of these last spots are good to use with, of course, parties and double XP bombs, but you can solo them, but I would also recommend doing quests. But yeah, that is it for this leveling guide basically. And that was it for my level 1 to 106 leveling guide. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and a comment down below, and subscribe if you want to. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a nice day. Goodbye.